Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Switch players of the world, welcome to CommentForce number 8. I'm your host, Zach. I've got Gabe and Jake alongside me. I can hear the music playing, the trumpets blaring, and the pretty frogs croaking. We have a whole A to Z of comments for you today.
I'm very concerned about what is happening in your mind right now, if this is what you're hearing.
It's a little bit of a Switch party going on right now.
Fun fact.
We have been... Yes?
A good friend of mine broke his phone 2 days ago looking for frogs.
That's a very strange activity.
No, it's because he has a little pond in his house, and he was trying to show a friend of ours, like there's frogs here, and like they got close. It was nighttime. He turned on the flashlight. He dropped his phone, and it broke.
Oh, that's sad news.
Rip to the frog phone and bring life back to SwitchForce. We've been out of town this past week. Sorry for the little interruption in your daily SwitchForce service, but we were on vacation, kind of recuperating from all the chaos and craziness the past couple of months have been. But fear not, we're back on full track this week. We've got a whole bunch of good stuff planned. There's new games in Lego City Undercover, Graceful Explosion Machine. We've got the SwitchForce t-shirt giveaway winner announcement, and we've got CommentForce a day late, but still coming at you. And let's kick that off with the Taken Master, who has a fun little Switch anecdote, saying, yesterday I was on a plane. We were on planes yesterday too, Mr. Taken Master. I had my Switch and I was playing it, and a person next to me saw it and said, "Yo, that's the Switch. Can I try it?" And we played Snipper Clips for a few minutes.
Yes.
Also, please let Destiny 2 on Switch. I will love you, Reggie. And the last comment is not happening, but the first part of the comment, this is like our dream scenario.
Yes.
This is making friends with Snipper Clips.
Taken Master, you are the comment of the week officially.
Gabe, you can't say that. We haven't even gotten
nope.
through them all.
Shut it down. Video over.
I just
guys.
I like that he said that the person said that is the Switch, not is that the Switch? Can I try it? That is the Switch. Like they were very authoritative in labeling.
Yeah,
they must be a Sheikah, because a Sheikah are very good at labeling things, so they probably label it like a Sheikah.
Snipper Clips relationships are real. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
I will say that I was on the plane, and in case anyone's curious, we went to Florida to the beach and kind of soak up some sun instead of soaking up some Switch. I did not take the Switch on the beach, by the way. I was very fearful of sand infiltration of the JoyCon slots and just of the whole system in general. But there was a pilot sitting next to me on the plane, and he was very intrigued by Zelda. He just kept looking at it and watching it. He didn't say anything.
You shouldn't have been sitting in the cockpit.
It was not. He was another pilot. He was flying the plane from the exit row.
I just imagine you sitting in the cockpit and distracting the pilot with Zelda.
No, that's not how it went. Please, I am not a national security threat, I promise. Zach Marshall, though, could be, with his unfortunate Switch sloppiness. I threw my Switch in my backpack for a few days in a row, and now my left Joy-Con detaches from the system without having to press the button, with any force placed on the bottom. Found out it was just that Joy-Con because it attached another Joy-Con and it stuck fine, but the first Joy-Con is toast. And we actually got a number of comments about this, of people who, last CommentForce, we referenced like protecting the Joy-Con more so than the screen, and a number of people said that their Joy-Con don't stick on anymore.
That's weird. So it broke the safety mechanism, or like the clicking mechanism.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Giant Bomb had that problem too. Like when they were like in the review process, like Jeff Gerstmann just like broke his Joy-Con. It just wouldn't stay attached either.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's the. I mean, in this guy's case, it's the Joy-Con that's breaking, not the actual Switch connection.
It sounds like it's like the locking mechanism that keeps it in place, where you have to use the release button. But I like that his profile picture looks like him just going, "No!" and looking up his thing. "No, it's broken."
There's a lot of that this week, actually, of profile pictures referencing and relating to the comment. But we're sorry for your loss, and please take extra good care. Put that thing in a case, shove it in a sock, cover it with a beanie, blanket it up, and treat it like a baby.
Sock, dude.
I literally use
some people have big feet.
A winter hood attachment thing and wrap it up in that, and it's been okay on a couple planes. So
that's what I do when I have to take a camera with me, like on planes. I just wrap it up in like towels and shirts and stuff, not professional enough to get a case or a bag. Cases
are very nice though. Maxed Out says, for CommentForce number 8, and I love this, there's a couple really good discussion starters here. Do you think Donkey Kong Maker is a good idea?
No.
This is amazing.
I'd much rather have
this is such a crazy idea. Yeah, but imagine getting to place the Kremlins and figuring out gaps that Dixie can spin across and placing barrels and crazy barrel. Like, imagine the barrel levels that people would make if you were able to place them wherever you wanted. You would have all barrel levels. You'd have all platforming levels.
Can we just have like a railroad level where like there's like insane drops?
Like the minecart, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, minecart. Donkey Kong Maker, and you get to just like put all sorts of enemies there. You can put freaking King K. Rool chasing you down the. Oh my god!
Honestly, I didn't think it was a good idea at first, but Zach sold me on
it. Zach did do a pretty good job of bringing up some good pros.
And like think about you could even have it be just like Mario Maker, where you have like the Donkey Kong Country style, and then you have the Donkey Kong Country Return style. So you have like the 3D style and the also kind of 3D style, but like Super Nintendo and Wii or Wii U. And let's just not bring in the enemies though from the Wii and Wii U game, and just give me the OG Kremlins, please.
Can we put in Donkey Kong and just the one that throws the barrels down at Mario while he's trying to climb the ladder to save the princess?
8-bit Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
that'd be weird.
And I just love the idea that you could like force people to use like a certain Kong, like force people to use Cranky, force people to use Dixie, force people to use Donkey, and just, oh my god, it would be platforming paradise. Please, someone at Nintendo make this happen. I will trade.
What?
Is it blasphemous to say I'd trade Mario Odyssey for this?
No, God.
You can't,
stop.
You can't
Next
say
comment.
Don't say that. Yeah, go. Don't say that.
Why?
That is not an okay trade.
That is not a SwitchForce approved comment, guys.
No.
I'm so juiced for Mario Odyssey, but Donkey Kong Maker is one of the greatest Nintendo
When's the last time you played
dreams ever?
When's the last time you played Mario Maker?
Okay, next comment. Elijah's Galilee says, one of our sad stories about trading in, since we referenced that last week about trade-ins. He says, I gave my old DS to my cousin Kyle, and he paid me back by stealing my Rayquaza on Pokemon Heart Gold. Then 2 weeks later, he traded the system into GameStop. Shame on Kyle. What a jerk.
Man, seems like you and Kyle might need to throw some hands.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for this. This actually something happened similar to me with Pokemon cards, where we all agreed that we were gonna make a monster collection together, basically. And by monster, I mean big, not like Pocket Monster. And so we were gonna try and collect all the cards together, and we put them all in one binder. And then one kid just went and sold them all.
Wow.
And then the school year was over, and I didn't get any money, and I didn't have the cards.
That's real nasty.
See, that gives us some insight into why you are the way that you are.
Yeah,
it's just so much trauma in your life.
Yeah, it was really sad because I trusted in the goodness of humanity, and we were only like 10 years old, and still evil prevailed.
If you only knew, Zachary.
All right, well, Saitha Uchiha has another trade-in story saying, I sold my N64 to a mate with DK, Mario Kart, and a few other games. I assume he means Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah.
I regretted it so much, and to this day want it back, even though I barely use it. I have so many good memories using it that I legit get teary-eyed. And then my dad found out I sold it and said I shouldn't have done it, but it was my choice, which upset me so much more. R.I.P. N64, I'll remember you. The dad coming in rubbing the salt in the wounds, though.
This kind of reminds me of when you suggested that I traded my Pokemon Blue for like 3 other Game Boy Advance games, like Pokemon Pinball.
Oh yeah, that was just a random hotel.
Like Mario All Stars and like a Mickey racing game or something. And like
it was Super Mario Bros. Deluxe.
Yeah.
It was this Mickey Mouse racing game, and it was Pokemon Pinball, all for Game Boy Color.
Right, for Pokemon Blue. And
yes,
it's logically it's a sound trade because I mean you could get Pokemon Blue whatever, but like I never re-got Pokemon Blue, and I'm kind of sad that I don't have that cartridge anymore because that was like my first Pokemon game. But Pokemon Pinball was pretty fun, and the other 2 games were all right. So I mean, it was logically a sound trade. It just didn't feel good on the heart. And Zach had some good. A good part of influencing me to go through with this trade. I think because he just wanted to play the games.
Yeah, well, we got 3 new games, baby.
This isn't like trade related, but sort of tangentially like similar. So once we went to a swap meet, right? And I took a bunch of Super Nintendo games. I can't remember specifically what they were, but I remember like Breath of Fire being one of them, and like a whole bunch of games that like I had already beat. So let's call it like 10 games, right? So this kid and his like dad come along and ask, how much are the games, and I'm selling them. So I think I said like I don't know, like $10 each or something. And like they go away, and then they come back and they're like, And keep in mind, I was very, very young at this time, maybe 10, 11 years old. So what the dad tells me, hey, I'll just give you $40 for all of them right now. I don't want to like buy them individually. And for a 10-year-old, $40 is a lot of money. And like I didn't do the math in my head that like, hey, I was basically giving them away for like $4 or $5 each, whatever the case was, $4 if they were 40 for 10. So I said, sure, I'll take the 40, and I basically got like not robbed, but like the equivalent. Yeah, I was a kid and I didn't know any better. So yeah, I fully got ripped off for some Super Nintendo games.
Just to add a little extra anecdote, a garage sale was selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and this dad came. He's like, I just want to buy all of them, and so he's like, whatever you have. And so I went in my house, and I was like 12 or something, and I felt so like responsible to give him good ones. Like I went and grabbed like extra like rare cards from like my personal collection to put them in this like tin to sell, where I could have just honestly thrown like all commons in there, and he was gonna give me $50 for the tin. And I was like trying to be a good person and gave him like extra rare cards and all this extra stuff. So and then when I came back out, I was like, I put in this and this, and he clearly had no clue what I was talking about. But yeah,
man, things we do as children.
Speaking of pain, Caden Stewart says, oh, I'm really hurt. I said that comment about this has been Gabe first, and they shoved the other guy's comment instead. Really, SwitchForce? Really? Well, Caden,
and he's such a happy little Mickey. How could we do this to such a happy little Mickey?
I couldn't believe we screwed over such a small mouse. But
yeah, we're sorry. We just saw the other one first.
Yes, but Gabe is still alive somehow, even though he has been Gabe. Yeah. He still is Gabe. After the wild and crazy last week since those comments, he has managed to keep his original name somehow.
Yeah.
But we'll
get to that later. I lost it, but got it back.
Joe Cool says, Gabe, I love your witch laugh.
What? I love that his witch laugh is one letter away from his switch laugh.
Yes.
Ooh. What is your switch laugh, Gabe?
What's your switch laugh?
I don't have one.
Has been Gabe needs to develop a new switch laugh.
I'll work on that for next week.
Samuel L. Jackson, a.k.a. Danny Stewart in quotations. This is really Samuel. I need Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare on the Switch. I would play Garden Warfare 2 so freaking much everywhere I go. I absolutely love the Garden Warfare games, and the first one is one of my favorite shooters ever. But I didn't play enough the second game, but I think if I could play on the go, I would play that much more. Dude, this is exactly what I feel. And I don't really like Samuel in movies, but I will agree with you here. I didn't play enough of the second one. And if they would somehow port that thing to Switch, I would be all over it. And there's so many games that I would love just to have on Switch because I know I would have more opportunity to play them more, and I know that the fact that I can integrate the Switch more easily into my life like gives me the opportunity and the time to play a lot more games that I don't have the minutes stuck in front of my TV for. I
full-heartedly agree. And like whatever you like, people say like, oh, online only or whatever, but there's so many places with Wi-Fi. Like, how often are you playing your Switch somewhere where there's not Wi-Fi? And if you are, then you have plenty of other games that you could pick up and play and save Garden Warfare for when you do have Wi-Fi.
Talk to a stranger. Play snapper clips.
There you go. Boom.
Gabe, I like the little advertisement.
Savan F with the final trade and story of the day. I used to have a Triforce Edition Game Boy Advance SP. Then the original DS came out, and I thought, hey, great, I don't even need my Game Boy anymore. I can play my old games on the DS too. So I went to sell it at the flea market. I waited for like 3 hours, and nobody bought it. And just when I took some time off to look around the market myself, my dad sold the Game Boy as well as about 10 games to some old dude for $40. Gabe, is this by you?
It sounds like I wrote in.
my heart still aches this day when I ever think about it.
And to let you guys know,
the Triforce Edition.
I didn't know that this comment was coming. I don't put the comments together. That was Zach. So Zach, I sort of predicted a comment here.
Also, this is a very dad-centric episode with dads just really, really
screwing the pooch.
Yeah, gosh, jeez. Get on this, dads. Come on, step up your A game. We need some good stories of dads buying Switches or surprising their kids with Mario next week. So all the dads in the SwitchForce community, raise your voice and let us know that you're not all evil.
Or go become a dad real quick just so you could be good.
No.
I'm joking.
A Getty 100 says, I think Gabe's new name should be Jerry. He sounds like someone that could be named that.
How does someone sound like?
Gabe, you never named someone Jerry based on their looks or sound?
No. Well, I mean, we haven't been on camera in a while, so like I'm not confident that he knows what I look like.
No, but I'm just saying like, in general, like, you see somebody and you're like, oh, that person looks like a Ben. Or, oh, that person sounds like a Waldorf. You ever done that before, like in your head?
I have never met someone that sounds like a Waldorf.
Well, ever. Okay, that was just an example name, but Waldorf is a very good old person name.
I kind of want my name to be Waldorf now.
Okay, Gabe, if you just give a little bit more gray in your beard, and then you can be Waldorf.
I'm working on it.
You can change your name whenever you'd like. It's possible.
Yeah, I might.
Speaking of Jerry, it's Jay Cross, also starts with J, and he says, honestly, I don't mind if Splatoon 2 is a true sequel or not. Not a lot of people, including me, got to even play Splatoon 1. As long as they do add some substantial new things for the former players, the game will be an awesome addition to the series, as well as bringing it the popularity it needs to the Switch. I played the test fire all weekend and have had an absolute blast. So much so I recorded some gameplay, and it's going up as my first video. Shameless plug, don't kill me. We won't. Maybe. Anyways, whatever it comes out to be, I really hope it gains what it needs to become a wonderfully unique multiplayer experience on the Switch. And what I liked about this is how there is this acceptance and sort of this welcoming of, maybe not ports is the right word, but things like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Splatoon 2, where it is bringing these popular games or these really well-regarded and critically acclaimed games to a much bigger audience. And I think it's interesting how Nintendo, in a way, benefits off of the failure of the Wii U for the Switch, because then they have basically a bin of titles to pull from when they don't have things that month, when they don't have new development, when they don't have a new title release. They can kind of draw from this well that few people have drank out of, and so it seems new. Now, Splatoon 2, I think, is much more of the case of a new game than a port, but I just thought the ideology about it was very interesting.
I mean, I think we shouldn't get it twisted. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is definitely a port. I mean,
yeah,
sure.
Splatoon
2 is not, though.
Yeah, no, but you mentioned that, like, it might not, like, that there might be a little bit more than a port. I wouldn't call them more than a port. Splatoon 2, like, there's going to be a new single player campaign, things like that. So I like you said, it's more of a full sequel. But I'm glad that you enjoyed Splatoon, J Cross. We enjoyed it too, for the very limited time we had with it.
Yeah, come back soon. Taco Gaming says, would you trade a PS4 for a Switch? My mom says I have to get rid of something else to get a Switch. My brother wants to keep our Xbox, but I don't. What would you do?
He says Xbox 360. Get rid of the 360.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Why did he ask about a PS4 and then throw in a 360?
Yeah,
no, PS4 and a 360. Get rid of the 360 and get a Switch.
Yeah, Taco Gaming, we just solved your problem. Keep the PS4, get rid of the 360, get the Switch. And, like, I understand that you might have some fondness for the 360 depending on how long you've had it, but the sad fact is that there's no more games coming to that thing. Like, new games will not be coming to the 360 anymore.
And even if you meant an Xbox One, I still think that would be the one to trade in at this time and moment.
He said 360. I don't think he meant Xbox One.
But in case he did, and he needs the extra advice,
well,
I like the idea of keeping the PS4.
What about his original question? Would you trade a PS4 for a Switch? Like, what if that's the only question you answer? Would you do it?
Well, maybe.
I mean, it really depends on what kind of gamer you are and what kind of games you want. Obviously, some of the big multi-platform games, or most of the big, we can't really fully determine until we get to the holiday season, but stuff like Destiny 2, Red Dead Redemption, Battlefront 2, we're assuming it's not going to hit the Switch. So you're going to be missing out on a lot of games, but you are gaining that Nintendo library, and you are gaining the sort of hybrid new style of play. So to me, it's kind of a toss-up. There's extreme benefits and extreme disadvantages to both sides of the equation. I don't like this. What is with these parents trying to make things tough on the kids, man?
Parents just don't understand, Zach.
It's a rough life.
I mean, if there's any way you can keep the PS4 and the Switch, that's the way to go. But hey, if you've played a bunch of stuff on PS4 and you're not really that excited for God of War, you're not really that excited for Spider-Man, and you don't really care about Destiny or
the
Battlefront
hypothetical Spider-Man that's coming this year that really isn't, but meh.
Yeah, I mean,
I know we don't talk about other stuff here very often, but no way that game comes out this year.
Here's the other thing. PS4s by the fall are going to be cheaper than Switch. So maybe you do now trade your PS4 for a Switch, and eventually, when enough exclusives pile in or when you're missing that kind of gaming, you can get one back.
True. But again, like, convince your brother to get rid of the Xbox, especially if it's a 360. Even if it's an Xbox One, like Zach said. Like, get rid of the Xbox, keep the PS4 for the big, like, third-party exclusives such as Destiny, Red Dead. Zach already mentioned a few. So
and eventually you can get a 360 back. They're very cheap, and they'll continue to get cheaper. So
yeah.
Public service announcement from Dennis McMurrow. I like putting these in there because I firmly and strongly stand behind this. Super Mario Strikers for Switch, please. It was my favorite thing to play with my friends, and I really wanted a third game in the series for Wii U. It never happened. Give it to us on Switch. Yes.
I agree.
Yes. This is one of the greatest Mario games ever.
Such a fun multiplayer game. Like just about a right amount of like fun randomness and like competitive skill like mixed together. So like you can have fun with pretty much anyone, and like the more you play it, it still doesn't get old because there is that like element of random fun Mario behavior, but there's also like a lot of skill involved in it and the competitive nature.
At SwitchForce, we are all about having fun with anyone. So yeah, again, go meet strangers, play games. That's everything.
Jerry Chambers comes into the little Splatoon
this
feedback.
is Jerry.
I have the
Hi, Jerry.
same.
Gabe, why are you commenting? We can't use our own comments. Why are we breaking the rule? I'm just not gonna let you start this comment.
False start on the offense. I had the same problem trying to jump with X. Love the videos and the ratings you give all the games and accessories. I've actually bought the Switch backpack and the hybrid case because of you all. Keep up the work, and I'm sure whatever you all say will persuade my decision on what I buy for the Switch, guys.
That's a lot of responsibility. You can't I feel like Gabe takes that way too lightly.
Gabe, we could tell him, like, hey, there's this new Switch.
Stop. You guys, no,
Switch.
This is what's happening. Oh, God.
What? Let him go.
Here's what we want you to buy, all right? There is a new Switch nightstand, and it is shaped in the form factor of Gabe. Ooh. And you can stick your Switch right in the head slot, and it'll rest there all night. And when it's ready to wake up, Gabe will do his witch cackle and wake you up, and it's time for Switch.
Perfect. But, Jerry, we do appreciate you trusting us enough to let us have some influence on your purchasing decisions. Hopefully you like the backpack and the hybrid case. Based off what Zachary said, they seem like very cool accessories, and I hope you
Zach actually used the backpack for bringing a Switch with him, so it
took
is
the backpack on the trail this week.
Very, very applicable.
And yeah, we do definitely try to showcase things that are of interest and are of use, and bring to light the ways that they can be helpful in sort of your day-to-day Switch excursions. We don't cover every accessory. Obviously, there's some ones that are either repetitive or kind of worthless, but we do like bringing cool stuff to your attention. So we'll be having some more accessory reviews this week and some more games, so stay tuned, Jerry. Media 8-Bit just has a cool little anecdote here. SwitchForce, we're big fans of yours here in Central America. We've enjoyed your videos since we first discovered you in January, so one of the OGs before the system even came out. And you guys are one of the reasons we decided to start this channel. A gaming channel with Spanish as its principal language. Glad you guys are still keeping us excited, which I just thought was like cool that they were inspired.
That was your opportunity. Well, maybe Gabe's going to switch over to Media 8-Bit since he speaks Spanish.
I thought about that like a very long time ago to like start like a Spanish like gaming channel, and I mean there's a bunch out there. Like it's not like it's a new idea, but I almost did that once many years ago. But then my Spanish, while I am fluent, I'm not like super comfortable with it to where I would make videos.
But kudos to you guys for starting the channel. Kudos to you for doing something cool with the Spanish language, and yeah, that's awesome. Melvin O with a little more Splatoon. I prefer having your nickname show up. I mean, yes, there will be multiple Zachs and only one SwitchForce, but nicknames can be changed easily. This makes it easier for Splatoon teams to identify themselves in the game in the case there is no clan option. Plus, I find it fun to have someone else share my name. So it was brought to our attention that you can change your name, your display name, and I do kind of like the idea that you could then sort of make like teams, or we could change all of our display names to have people identify us in lobbies, or like he mentioned, for teams or things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So very
cool. Because I guess you might have any
you could just
go ahead.
You can just change it whenever.
Yeah, for the display name, you can change your your display account name. So like on your Switch, it pops up and says like Zach or Gabe when you like click on a game of what user. If you change that like user display name, not your network ID, but your user display name, it'll then change in Splatoon. The negative to this, because we did get a bunch of comments of people saying like, oh, you can just change it, it's really cool. The negative is we also got a bunch of comments saying like, I think I play with you, Zach. I think I play with you, Jake. I think I play with you, Gabe. Because every person named that, so that's really the downside. But
it is kind of nice that like then there won't be like a bunch of like weird like _ X capital X lowercase X like weird things like you're saying for like calling people out or whatever. Like it'd be easier once like the voice chat is enabled or whatnot.
We just have shorter, simpler names. Gabe team going. Can we just all?
And I guess also Gabe? It's more like personable too. Like if like like more friendly, like couch gaming, like calling someone by like their first name or like a short name as opposed to like Cheeto Fingers 771. Get over here.
Yes,
it's a great name.
It's so true. Resident Fantasy says, and this is about the Switch selling a whole bunch in Japan. That is great news. This console is a thing of beauty and must have made a big impact on people's lives. And I thought this was really just important to consider that. Obviously, new consoles are awesome, and obviously new games are awesome, and people have fun with them, and people enjoy. But like, think about that Switch really has modified people's lives, the way that they play games, the way they're able to enjoy them. It's opened up more time for people to play games. It's brought a whole new style of enjoying this interactive form of media.
I have a good anecdote for this.
For the audience, which I think is just so, it's really cool. And like, not to get all like sappy and sentimental, but like Nintendo really did kind of introduce a game changer, and I think they've always wanted to do that, and that's something that's been at the core of their company philosophy. And I like that they were able to do that in a way that was exciting to newcomers and hardcore, and do it in a way that is not just a gimmick, but something that really does sort of change the landscape.
Yeah. So my anecdote is that on the planes when we were traveling, I got our little brother to start Zelda for like 2 or 3 hours on the plane, and had it been just another home console, I think it would have been much harder to get him with with high school and whatnot to sit down and play a Zelda game for like 3 hours straight to get really into it and get going on like the Great Plateau and stuff. But since it was portable, I just handed it to him on the plane. He played, and like now he's like super hooked on it. And so like I think that's really cool how the Switch is making like we said, like changing the way you play games and like allowing more accessibility to people who have like busier lifestyles or different things where they wouldn't normally play games because they don't want to sit down and play for hours.
Yeah, that's super awesome. And I think, as we saw from the guy on the plane with snipper clips, and I'm sure there's countless other anecdotes and stories of people expanding sort of their gaming circles and even introducing new people to gaming via the Switch, because you can have it with you and it's super easy to pop out, and it does have more of a home console appeal than like a mobile phone. Because sure, you can get someone like, check out, ridiculous fishing or something on your phone, but it's a whole lot better when you can be like, I am playing the best Zelda ever.
Right.
In the palm of my hand.
That's still not true.
It's absolutely true. Finn says, when have we been a snake? In regards to Snake Pass. Snake on my telephone back then? That is not a snake.
I don't know what the... What?
You never played Snake on a cell phone?
No.
Where you like move around like the line guy to collect more and get bigger?
Snakes. Yes.
That is not the same as the Great Noodle.
Noodle is...
How dare you even compare
much
them?
more advanced.
We'll have a Snake Pass video coming up, but I don't think I like the game as much as you guys.
Wow. Okay. We have one more Snake Pass thing later, but in the meantime, this one is awesome. RM80 says, what's a Nintendo game or idea that you would like but don't think will ever happen? We always make videos on like what we think will happen. So what don't you think will happen? For me, he has 5. A 3D Mario game with Bowser as the main playable character. A Metroid game with alien hunter allies in multiplayer, a new Star Fox that is not a remake, a Star Fox anime, a Pokemon Monster Hunter crossover, or guest characters from the franchises in each game. So I thought we could each give one that we would like but won't happen.
All these seem like totally like feasible to me. Like none of these sound like, it'll never happen.
I don't think you'll ever play Bowser as the main character of a 3D Mario.
That'd be amazing, though.
I don't know.
I think he's just too slow and lumbering, though.
I just think Nintendo's whole very strict, dealing with Mario almost requires him to be the main character, which is why my Wario Waluigi game probably will never happen either.
No, but I'm sure like if you would have asked us back when like Super Mario 3 was coming out, if we were ever gonna play a game with Luigi as the main character, we'd have said no. If you would have asked like any time before Toad's Treasure Tracker, if we were ever gonna play a game with Toad as the main character, we would have said like no way, it's just Toad.
That's a valid point. So maybe we do get a Bowser title. Maybe I don't think it'll be a traditional like Mario, like Bowser's going and stomping on all the Mushroom Kingdom residents, all the Toads. Although that would be a great idea. Replace Goombas with Toads. Ugh.
Again, none of this seems like totally out there to me. I wouldn't like 100% rule out any of these, like personally.
Do you think if there's a new big 3D Metro, you think it could have online multi?
Yeah. It'd be nice. With the gyro aiming, yeah.
What's one that you would like but don't think? Mine is the Wario Waluigi crime story game where they're going to steal something from like Wario and Waluigi. Yeah.
I don't think we ever get a Peach game where she has to go save Mario. I don't think we ever get that.
We did have a Peach DS game.
Yeah, I remember.
Super Princess Peach, but you mean like a 3D an RPG, a Western open world RPG with Peach finding Mario?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to the one off the top of my head. I'm sure I can think of many, but open world Pokemon where you're different element type Pokemon in different areas, like actually battling other Pokemon in real time. I don't think that ever happens, even though it sounds amazing.
I thought it was really interesting. Yeah, let us know in the comments if there's any awesome Nintendo ideas you have but don't think will ever happen, so you can kind of let your mind run wild. Gavin J thought this was kind of cool. I've been watching SwitchForce for quite some time now, and I told myself I wasn't going to subscribe till I got my hands on a Switch. Well, I finally have a Switch of my own as of Wednesday. I love it. Well, did you subscribe?
Yeah, what? You better have subscribed.
We hope you did, Gavin. I thought that was interesting that he tied the subscription to SwitchForce to his acquisition of the Switch.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but okay.
They don't have to go together. You can gladly subscribe before. We welcome you with open arms, even if you are not a part of the Switch owners committee. Bears Got Guns, in reference to our Has Been Heroes discussion, says, I think this is one of the better reviews you guys have done. Brought up a lot of good points and ideas for this game. I personally have high hopes for this game, but this could be a no-go. We'll see what this patch has to say. Keep us posted. In the meantime, keep up the good work, boys.
I really like that, again, this avatar is terrified that bears now have guns.
It's a scary thought, man.
It's a very scary thought.
Back on the Snake Pass trail, Sensei Jack says, that thing, Noodle, is adorable. Who could possibly be afraid of snakes after seeing that? Put it in Smash Brothers. Make a movie out of it. Give it an Oscar. I do like the idea. I do like the idea of Noodle in Smash Bros.
I don't even know what the heck he would do except make weird facial expressions and make
you have to control him. You have to control him just like in Snake Pass too, so it's very difficult to even reach the enemy.
Yeah.
But then it's an insta-kill if you just open your mouth on them.
Right.
Boom. I love it. Last one on Snake Pass. Dude, you kicked my sandwich says, all these people are like, ooh, this is new. We've never played as a snake before. And to you, I only need to say 3 words. Metal Gear Solid.
You got Gabe good.
Thought that was a really good joke.
That tickled me.
A nice little pun from Dude, you kicked my sandwich. Abigail, trapped inside of Haunter's Castle, says, 230-plus minute videos in a day? Yeah, baby. A few quick questions for you guys, and we're going to answer these all separately. How long do you think you'll be playing Zelda for?
Probably 75
How
plus
many,
hours.
like from now, like how many hours, or from now until how many days?
What month? Like when do you think you'll stop playing Zelda?
I think when Mario Odyssey comes out, I think I will be converted over officially forever.
Remember, there's also that DLC coming this holiday.
Yeah, shoot, I forgot about that. So maybe not until next year. I don't know, a long time.
I'll give you 2 answers. 75 plus hours because I'm 30 something hours into it now, and I'm nowhere near. I'm still just exploring a lot.
Right.
But I hope to be done with it this month. So we'll see.
I think it's kind of a really nice. I've beat 3 dungeons, and once I get the 4th, I'll save Calamity again and just go around and do like a couple shrines here or there. I had my big push where I played like 30 hours in like a week, and now I kind of just like it as sort of more of like a, when I have an extra moment. Obviously, there's a lot of other games to play right now, and things are going to heat up with E3. So I foresee myself playing it for a while and going for all 120 shrines and eventually taking down Ganon and getting to the DLC. The next question, though, is what is your favorite Zelda race in the game?
I'm partial to Zora.
I think the Zora used to be like really creepy or just weird looking, but I think they did a cool job. They did,
especially with Breath of the Wild, man, they did a really good job.
That's what I mean. Like they like Ocarina of Time Zora and stuff. Like there's like weird bulbous heads and things. Like that was just weird, but I think they look really cool in this game. I honestly I'm still like a right sider of the map, and I haven't even gone up to Death Mountain. So like I'm just exploring very detailed areas. And so I haven't even gone to the left side and encountered any other races really. So
I've gone every side. I'm kind of I want to discover every area before I go on the big push for shrines and then eventually the rest of the dungeons.
No, my favorite species is the Korok. What am I saying? Is that how is it even a competition? Wait, I totally forgot.
That's the real deal.
Although I will say that there's one Korok in the game they have 10 that they recycle for all the getting the Korok seeds, and there's one that just looks like they took a picture in Microsoft Paint and stretched it really long, and I don't like that one. He's the weird deformed one that should not be in the game.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Korok hate is real. I want to say Rito, but they're always singing those stupid songs with the accordions.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to say Zora. Because the Zora, they become a race of the aquarium exploded, merged with some human DNA, and now you got Zora, which I love. So.
I think the Zora is really cool.
And again, the Zora and Breath of the Wild are the best that the Zora have ever been.
Absolutely.
Again, it became a meme, and that in itself is kind of great.
Yes. Lastly, do you guys accept fan art? Have a P.O. box? Abigail, we do not have a P.O. box, but you're welcome to send anything to us on Twitter, twitter.com/SwitchForce. If you have any immediate questions or just little comments or just want to discuss with some other fans what is going on in the world of Switch, twitter.com/TheSwitchForce. There's a link in the description of every video, and that would be the place to send us any fan art. If you do have any, we would absolutely love to see it.
Maybe we'll set up a P.O. box one day for physical stuff. Maybe. Who knows? We've never talked about that.
Never say never. Oh, God, I forgot. Noodle is back. Rice Lord says, I love how expressionate Noodle is. I don't know if that's a word, but I love it. He was hanging out on a ledge, and he was giving me a smug, relaxed smile. I couldn't help but smile back at him. The music is so good, and I just love this game, and I'm hooked. And I like this. I like that Switch has some games now that are getting people excited that don't involve Zora. I like that Snake Pass has kind of become like a nice little Switch darling. And, yeah, Noodle is just... He's just quite the guy. I love that he said he gave him a smug, relaxed smile. That's basically what Noodle does. Yeah. Very cool comment, Rice Lord.
Whoa, that's a long one.
Wrapping up the day, it is a note from Joel on the Frozen Byte team, the developers of Has Been Heroes, and it was brought to our attention by Thomas Hoon. Sorry for the butchering there. But I want to say this to the end so that, since it's not really a comment and more of just like an update. Some insight into Has Been Heroes. We talked a lot at length about Has Been Heroes and some decisions they made that we were concerned about and why the game was sort of structured in the way that it was. Now, the concept and the gameplay mechanics were super fun, but sort of the execution was lacking. Anyhow, Joel from Frozen Byte says, we will be addressing some concerns over the next few weeks. The release date may have been too difficult, as reviews complain about that a lot, and they may be right. We adjusted the difficulty a bit with a day one patch, should be live now on all platforms, and have another patch incoming with further changes. The game will remain difficult, but we do not want it to be unfair. I was at PAX East presenting the game to media and gamers, and I had tons of fun playing the full game, albeit an earlier version. Me, Kai, and Matt were just able to beat the 5th boss, the Toxic boss, in our 25 hours of play. I myself am a rather casual gamer and definitely not a roguelike gamer, so it should be possible to find a balance between hardcore roguelike audience and a more casual crowd like myself and probably most of the reviewers. The core gameplay and all the gameplay mechanics are solid if you ask me, so once we get the balance perfected, the game should be super fun. And I agree with that.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The repetitiveness in enemies and overall is probably a byproduct of the difficulty and players not able to progress enough, as the game features over 200 enemies, and even if skeletons are the mainstay, they've never felt repetitive to me. There's a lot of variation. There's plenty of other kind of enemies too, but they only start appearing as you progress in the game, which is something I did not know. When you're unlocking that stuff after every successful run, those are new enemies that can appear in further runs. So when it's adding those things, like those little images, it's new enemies that can appear in further runs, but you only get them if you're successful and victorious in a run. Yeah. Which is kind of a backwards way to do it. Like, you have to be really good to get more variety, but they only want to give you that variety if you're good because it's going to be harder. I don't know. It's an interesting design choice, but there apparently are a lot more enemies we just haven't seen because we're not beating it.
I don't know. Yeah, I've experienced a lot of different enemies, but again, they're all very... It's not like, oh, this one switches lanes really fast and this one throws ice balls at you. It's just like...
Yeah, I do wish there was more...
This one has 7 stamina instead of 3. This one has more health and this one walks slower.
To be fair, there is a boss that switches lanes randomly. And
the boss... There's a couple different bosses. I'm talking about the main...
I think we just want more species of enemies, not just variation of enemies, but more species than just
and
skeletons.
They don't make you play any different, really.
Yeah,
it's the same. It doesn't matter. It's like a skin almost with bigger, more bullet absorption.
Joel finishes out by saying, we are super interested in seeing how the user feedback turns out, and we'll be addressing issues as we get past the launch day. If you're on the fence, I suggest waiting out a bit and see how the recent reviews develops on Steam. I just want to also give a golf clap because I thought this was such a classy and consumer-focused response. The fact that, 1, they're addressing all this stuff, and the fact that, 2, he even suggests waiting and seeing if their changes do appeal to you and seeing if their changes do sort of course correct the game. I love that they're so open and so honest about it, and even to the extent of saying hey, don't buy it yet, see if we're able to make this right, and then go in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was
think it's cool that they acknowledge that there's some things that don't seem right and they're willing to fix it, and they're not giving up on it, and they're not discrediting what people are complaining about. They're fully admitting it and trying to work through it the best they can.
And to address the feedback that it's a roguelike, it's supposed to be difficult. Yeah, we know that. I kind of feel like that goes without saying. And for the people saying, "Oh, you're terrible at roguelikes," cool, sure. But when we like review a game or just like do a review discussion, we can only talk about our experiences with them, and if that's our experience, that's what it's gonna be. Like, I don't think any of us claim to be like roguelike experts, but there's a lot of roguelikes that I like. Binding of Isaac being one of them. Darkest Dungeon is technically sort of a roguelike, and that's really good. So there's a lot of them that we all like. Just this one for some reason just didn't click with us, and I do think the game was too difficult. I really do. I haven't played it since the patch, so maybe that's fixed, but who knows?
And I don't think it, the difficulty, we understand roguelikes, there isn't a whole lot of carryover from run to run. That's fine, but what we wanted also was then more variety and not beating your head against the same door over and over again. Remember, in Binding of Isaac, you have a lot of rooms, a lot of different enemies, a lot of different items, a lot of different options for exploration. Even if you're not beating the final boss, you are able to still experience a lot more of the game. And I think the mechanics of Isaac are more open-ended as you're directly controlling the character, whereas this is a lot more of a strict gameplay mechanic, albeit a very fun mechanic, but it really needed more variety than with such a tough level of difficulty and such a lacking of carryover. We just wanted more variety. But it is interesting to find out more, and it's really cool to see Frozen Byte addressing this. So hopefully that game can, eventually reach the status where it is a very recommendable Switch game. I think that'd be awesome. You guys are very awesome as well. That is going to wrap up Comment Force number 8. Thank you so much for all the feedback and fun thoughts you guys sent in over the week. Keep them coming. We'll be back with another Comment Force next week. Really, really appreciate and really love the community we built here. So to all you guys and girls out there, pat on the back. Thank you for making the Switch such a fun place to play, and thank you for making SwitchForce such a fun place to talk and laugh and enjoy all that this awesome system has to offer. In the meantime, get out there, get playing, get commenting, and we will see you next week. Until then, thanks so much for watching. For myself, Gabe, and Jake, this has been Zach. SwitchForce out.